Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back with part 2 of week 6. I'm sorry that it had to be in 2 separate videos as I cannot stop, as I cannot add to the other one. So I've got the stats, scores, and all the headlines from the 3 o'clock games. The only ones that I will not be able to report on tonight will be the Steelers and the Chargers, which is fixing to kick off here in about 25, 30 minutes, 35 minutes or so. And then the Lions and Packers game tomorrow night from Green Bay. That will be aired on ESPN at 7:05, I think, as the Lions travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers. But first, let's get into Week 6 afternoon games action. Okay, as we had San Francisco playing the Los Angeles Rams. San Francisco wins that game 20-7. The 49ers are now 5-0 as the LA Rams fall to 3-3. As for the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, which I know a lot about Jimmy Garoppolo, as he was my team's backup, which I don't know what my team, here you go, is the boys, the Patriots. So, as he was Tom Brady's backup, I know a lot about him, and I knew that he would have, if given the chance, he would have and could stay healthy, a stellar career in the NFL. He learned from the best. But anyway, going on, he was 24 out of 33 for 243 yards with no touchdown passes and 1 interception. Jared Goff for the Rams was 13 of 24 with 0 interceptions, 0 TDs, and only 78 yards. Which I want to stop there and stop and talk about this game for a minute, as I did not get to see except the last 15 or 20 minutes of it anyway. The Rams are a better ball club than what they're showing. Me, in my personal opinion, I don't think Jared Goff nor Sean McVay has gotten over the Super Bowl performance, or lack of performance, should I say, that they put in Super Bowl 53. They've come out this year. They run out to a 3-0 start. Everyone thought, hey, the Rams were going to be top of the chain, going to be in line to make another Super Bowl run, this, that, the other. Now they've dropped 3 in a row. And don't get me wrong, the 49ers have a good ball team, good ball club. But some of the teams that the Rams had lost against in the previous couple weeks, I'm just not sure what's happened to them. They need to get back to what they do. Mind me, they did not have Todd Gurley today, as he was out with an injury. And I'm sorry that I'm not exactly sure what that injury is. But I do think he is week to week basis. I don't think he's going to miss any significant time. But even at that, even with Gurley in the lineup, it's like the Rams had no answer for what the 49ers was doing. Moving on. The Atlanta Falcons take on the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals win that game 34-33. Matt Ryan for the Falcons was 30 out of 36 for 356 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Kyler Murray for Arizona, who was 27 out of 37 for 340 yards and 3 TDs. Moving on. Dallas, 3-2. Go back. Falcons 1-5. Arizona 2-3-1. Dallas 3-2, taking on the 1-4 New York Jets. New York Jets wins that game 24-22, which, in my estimation, would be quite an upset. You got a 1-4 team playing coming out of spring as a dominant team there. And everyone thought that Dallas was going to have a Super Bowl run this year. As I even thought that myself. But I've seen them play the last 3 weeks or so. And they just not looked up to what they can do. I don't think it's the players. I don't think it's the front office. What I do think is they need a new leadership at the coach's spot. Not necessarily saying fire Jason Garrett, but they've got the weapons and they've got the players that can make the plays. They've got to get their main players, their superstar caliber players going. They've got to get them the ball. So they may come back to form. I'm not counting them out just yet. Now moving on to Tennessee Titans taking on the Denver Broncos. Denver wins that game 16-0. Marcus Mariota for Tennessee was 7 of 18 for 63 yards and 1 interception. His first interception in 182 passes was his first interception. Well, Mariota was benched early in the fourth quarter, and that brings in Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill was 13 of 16 for 144 yards with 1 interception. For Denver, 2-4. Joe Flacco, 18 of 28 for 177 yards and 1 interception. As I said, that's all the games that final right now. As there's only 2 more games in Week 6, which will be the Steelers and the Chargers, as I mentioned earlier, and the Packers and Lions tomorrow night. So, with that being said, the top performers as of this moment, before the Sunday night game and Monday night game, as of right now, your top performers of Week 6 for Sunday, minus the Steelers and Chargers game and Packers and Lions game, is quarterback Jameis Winston for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 400 pass yards, 1 touchdown, and a 0. And I'm sorry. It's a whole lot of stuff to remember, people. I have to go back and look. I'm sorry. Just hang on just a second. Let me see here. The Tampa Bay game. I know he had 400 yards, but I'm not sure exactly. I think he had 5 interceptions. But I need to make sure that's right. Yes, I am correct. He did have 5 interceptions, as he is, but he is the top performer for Week 6 as of now. In passing, that is. Your top performers for quarterback for rushing is, of course, Lamar Jackson with his 152 yards and 1 touchdown. Your running back leaders as of now is Seattle Seahawks Chris Carson for 124 yards. His average carry was 5.0 yards per carry. Your wide receiver best performer was Stephon Diggs. He had 167 reception yards. His average catch was 23.9 yards. As I stated earlier, as I was talking about the Tennessee and Denver game, Mariota was benched in the fourth quarter as they brought in Ryan Tannehill. I'm not sure if they took him out because he had been sacked 4 or 5 times, or if it didn't appear that he was hurt. He finished, as I tuned into that game also, he played the series before. Tennessee punted the ball. No, I'm sorry. He threw an interception. He threw his 1 interception on that series. Denver then scored, made it 16-0. And then the next time that Tennessee had the ball, Tannehill was under center. So it didn't appear that Mariota was hurt of any way. I don't know if it was because they could not protect him, because it was so late in the game and they just lived to play next week, or what. But as the week progresses, we will see if Mariota or Tannehill, which one takes the snaps in practice this week. As far as the Tennessee Titans go, is one of the teams we follow in this household. They've got to get better. That's just it. They've got to. They've got to get better. Their offense is non-existing. When you hold a team to 16 points or less, you should win the game. The Titans have held 3 of their opponents to 16 points or less, and they have 4 losses. That's not a very good stat. That's not very good performance. But can you blame Mariota? Can you blame the front office? Can you blame the coach? Can you blame the fans? Who can you blame? Mariota is his fourth or fifth? Fourth? Yes, it is his fourth. I'm correct. His fourth season in the NFL. He has had 4 different offensive coordinators. He has had 3 different head coaches. That just don't cut it in the NFL. You've got to have some kind of rhythm. You've got to have some kind of system that you can work. You've got to learn the system, and you've got to play the system. And Mariota come out of college from Oregon. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. We've seen, all of us that watch college football, we've seen what he did in college. We watched the Tennessee Titans, and it's none of that offense is implemented into what they're doing from Oregon. He was a rollout quarterback. He was a mobile quarterback. He could run the ball. He could scramble. I am no football coach by no means. I am not equipped to be a coach. I don't think I'm smart enough to be a coach. But I do know things. And I do watch a lot of football. And when you go from running this style offense all your life to let's sit back in the pocket and be a pocket passer, yeah, just not going to get it. That's not his game. So we'll see what becomes of it. And his contract's up at the end of the year. We'll see if they re-sign him, if they move on from him, or what. But if he did move on, I wouldn't see a big surprise in that. But if he stayed, I also wouldn't see a surprise in that either. It's kind of iffy for me. In my opinion, I think they need to run some of the stuff he run in college to be successful. And I'll leave that at that. I have not heard of any injuries to speak of this week yet. So I have no injuries to report of any significance. Of course, we know we have the nicks and bangs, and this person might lay down on the field for whatever, but he's in two or three series later. I do know that Baker Mayfield did take a shot at some point during his game. He did go to the locker room. He was checked out, but he did not miss an offensive series. He was still kind of grimacing in what I've seen, but I don't think it's anything significant because he did finish the game. With more Week 6 action, it would be the Steelers and Chargers tonight, fixing to kick off here in any minute, and the Packers and Lions tomorrow night on ESPN. Shout out ESPN, give me some money. Free advertisement there once again. So going into your standings as of now, with the games that's been played, your AFC East leaders, not leaders, is woohoo! Wale, the New England Patriots. 6-0. Your AFC North is the Baltimore Ravens at 4-2. Your AFC South leader is the Houston Texans at also 4-2. Your AFC West leader is the Kansas City Chiefs at also 4-2. Your NFC leaders as of now, week 6 with 2 games remaining. 2 games remaining in week 6 is the NFC South is the New Orleans Saints 5-1. The NFC North is the Green Bay Packers 4-1. And mind me, they have not played week 6 yet. So that there could change. The NFC East are the Eagles at a dismal 3-3. So you say, how can you be atop of that division at 3-3? Well, they're tied with Dallas, who is also 3-3 with, I'm not exactly sure who won that matchup I don't know that if they've even played this year or not. But if they have, whichever one won would have the advantage in that if it were to end today, the head-to-head matchup would be the tiebreaker. In your West, NFC West is the San Francisco 49ers at 5-0. As I do believe that the 49ers are the only unbeaten team left. And then you have one winless team left, which is the Miami Dolphins. Excuse me. So that's all the week 6 action as of now. We can talk about the Steelers and Chargers game. As we know that Ben is out for the season, so his backup Rudolph will be taking snaps against the Chargers and Phillip Rivers. I do believe the game is in LA. I'm fixing to turn it on now. Hang on. Oh, okay, it's kicked off. It's 0-0 in the first quarter. I think they had just kicked off when I turned it on. It's going to commercial now, but I think that the Steelers will stay true to their defense and stay and play the Steeler way, as they call it, then I think the Steelers will prevail in this game. But then again, you got the LA Chargers on the other side of the ball that has got a veteran quarterback who, in my mind, is a first ballot Hall of Famer if he retired tomorrow. And if he retired tomorrow 5 years, he'd be in the Hall of Fame in my book. But hey, I know who am I? I don't get to pick that. Which that's another thing that I will get into at some point, that why are the NFL writers and the media and the owners and this and that the only ones that get to select who gets in the Hall of Fame? The fans are the one that watch the ball games. They're the one that buy the tickets. They're the ones that buy the concessions at the game. So you could almost make a point that when you buy your ticket, you're paying part of that player's salary, whoever you want to say. So why can't the fans say, okay, this guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, or this guy doesn't, or this guy that's not in right now, he should be in? Shouldn't they have a fan selection for the Hall of Fame? Just my opinion. So my pick for that game it's still going to be the Steelers. But it wouldn't surprise me any if the Chargers did win as the Steelers are, as of now, are 1-4, and the Chargers are 2-3, with all eyes were on the Chargers from the Chargers fans this year, as they've been so close to reaching the Super Bowl, or they get beat in the championship game, or they get beat in the divisional game, or whatever it may be, whatever fluke might happen has put them out the last few years. But before Philip Rivers retires, I do believe that he will have a Super Bowl ring. And Monday night's game, the Packers and Lions, Aaron Rodgers against Matthew Stafford, will be a good game, as I do believe the Lions are a legit team this year. They have not been legit the last few years. Well, they might have been legit last year, but this year they are legit. They have a good ball club there in Detroit. Oh, as I just noticed, I'm sorry, Mason Rudolph is out for this game. Okay, that is suffered a concussion last week against the Ravens, as I did not know that. I am sorry. So the Steelers are down to their third string quarterback. As now I will change my pick to the LA Chargers in LA. I'm sorry about that, guys. I did not realize that he was out. That's something I should have noticed before I started reporting on this game. So, with that being said, I don't know anything else that I can report. I think I've told you everything that I've needed to say. And as of right now, I'm only giving offensive stats on the offensive side of the ball. But as I go along and maybe this thing will take off and have a few subscribers that kind of want to hear what I have to say or something or whatever, then maybe we can, I'll start giving some defensive stats and even some college stuff on Saturday. If you guys want that, I wouldn't mind doing that one too. It may not be as in detail. It may be just scores and maybe QB stats and scores of maybe the big games, as there are so many college games. I would not be able to get them all, I'm sure. But the main games, like your Alabama, your Georgia, your LSU, let's see who else, Oklahoma, things like that. I can report on them if so desired. As we know, Oklahoma and Alabama, the history there, last year to this year, Jalen Hurts transferred to Oklahoma because he was taken out of the game in the championship game. Tua come in, 2nd and 26, throws Devontae Smith touchdown pass in overtime to win a championship. Jalen Hurts never starts again. So he transfers to Oklahoma. And he's doing quite well, as some people are predicting that it could come down between Alabama and Oklahoma in the national championship game, or the game before to get to the national championship game. And I will say this about college football. Yesterday, Saturday, South Carolina did upset Georgia at home. So it was not a fluke. Georgia was at home. South Carolina beat them in overtime. 2 overtimes. As I'm not sure of his name, the Georgia field goal kicker missed a field goal to tie it in the second overtime, which propelled South Carolina to the victory. That was the big headline in college yesterday. So, with that being said, I believe that's all I need to say for the moment. I will be back. I will either be back this evening when the Steelers and Charger game is over, or to save myself some time and energy or whatever I may want to do, the Monday night game and Sunday night games are kind of the conclusion of the week, prior week, the week you're in. So when I start reporting on Thursday for week 7, we might just go back and tally up the end of week 6 with them 2 games, and that'll be all of week 6 or whatever week we're in, and then we can move on to the succeeding week. One more thing, your bye teams this week are the Buffalo Bills, the Chicago Bears, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Oakland/Las Vegas Raiders. That was your bye teams this week. Sometime before Thursday, before the game starts, I will try to get on here and put either the games coming up or at least the most important games as the season goes along, as we get into week 7, 8, 9, 10, and etc. Games are going to become more meaningful, so therefore we may not report on the games that are not so meaningful, like the 0-win teams or the 1 or 2 win teams or this or that. But we get into the playoffs, we'll have all that to do and more, and when football season's over, we'll jump into college basketball and go from there. I hope you guys like these videos. I hope I'm in detail for you. Please like this video, like this page, whatever you have to do. Leave me a comment, drop me a word or two. If you would like for me to talk about anything, if you would like to see anything or want to know something about a certain player, a certain someone, a certain team from past, present, or who may be coming up from college or whatever, I don't mind to look it up and put it in my next cast. I hope this thing will take off. It's something I've always wanted to do. My heart's in it. My mind's in it. And I hope one day I can maybe be the right people see it or whatever, and maybe I can do something that I love to do, which is watch sports and report on sports and all this kind of stuff. And it's just a passion of mine, and I love doing it, and I love keeping up with it. And I will be back with more news from week 6 as the other 2 games remaining. As I just noticed that Pittsburgh has scored a touchdown on a turnover, but they are reviewing the play. I don't know if it's going to stand or not. Yeah, it stands. Before I get off, I'll say this, where you'll have a little heads up of what just happened. Phillip Rivers threw a backwards pass to one of his receivers. I did not get the guy's number or name. I'm sorry. It was a backwards pass. Guy picked it up. The Steelers guy, defender, picked it up, which I do believe was Bud Dupree, which is a former Kentucky standout. And he ran it back for a touchdown. The Steelers are up 7-0 with 10 minutes or so left in the first quarter. I hope you guys watch this. Hope you like this video. May God bless you. Stay safe, stay sober, stay clean. Have a good night.